Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the most eventful lead up to a podcast we've ever done.
This was a nightmare.
This is the definition of a shit show. I think it's fair to say.
Quite literally. If you ever feel like, oh yeah, let's do a podcast outside, when our MacBooks aren't charged, and my MacBook isn't charged, and we don't have enough attachments, like just think again, because it's a nightmare.
Yeah. 5 different locations.
At least 5. We tried 5 different locations. We got the best spot I think we've ever had, and we probably ever will have. Right, so that's something to.
Yeah, this is good shit.
Good shit.
Hey, we're here though.
We're finally out here. Were we frustrated a little? Yeah, we were. But so Fish and Fergie Show, same as usual, but we're on a new spot. So tell us a little bit about the changes, Fergie. What's going on here? Are we taking this a little more seriously?
Yes. The boys are back, and we're back for. Let's go.
Yeah.
We're taking it a little more serious this time.
Mm-hmm. So what does that entail? We're gonna have.
Well, we're gonna, for all the loyal fans, we're gonna be posting every week on Friday, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Fridays.
So we'll have like a legit deadline. So it's consistent posting
every week, every Friday.
Yeah, we're also gonna be posting more on Instagram, and we made a Twitter account too, so we'll be posting on that. But as you can see, before we post this pod, you can see on the Instagram we've already been posting. Some fire videos and pics.
So we changed over to we're gonna be putting stuff. Not that anybody cares, but the Chell news, the stuff you go not Chell, but NHL, right? Like we're gonna be getting like you're gonna find out where Dubas is going. You know, you're gonna find out who's gonna win the Stanley Cup. You'll probably find out somewhere else, but us too. You know,
you're gonna be finding out if it's Peros or Parole.
We'll discuss that as well. So yeah, lots of big changes, and of course, we're on a new channel as well. I'm excited for it.
Not that big of a deal. Not many changes.
No big deal. It's just gonna be an even better podcast experience all the way around.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna be doing some clips too. So if you're not someone who's like, I love podcasts. If you're someone that thinks, I gotta watch a whole hour, nah.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
We got you.
Got
the clips now.
5-minute clips. 5-minute clips. Why not? So, a lot to talk about. I'd say, how's your weekend? But it's been a lot more than a weekend.
This day was my weekend.
Yeah.
In a way, this is.
Yeah.
It was a shit show, but you know what? It was kind of fun. Kind of.
It's about the journey, man. It's about the journey.
Yeah. Now that it's over
not about
with,
the destination.
Now that it's over with, I'm kind of I'm just happy that we're good now. So
honestly, there's been so much stress that I'm going to quickly just make sure everything is good. I'm going to check the camera. It was so quick that we're already back, but everything's good.
Fish. Last time we had a pod, we were previewing the first round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the first round anymore. We're way past that.
And remember when we were like, we should do at least a video in between each round. And now we're almost done round 2. One series is done, which is crazy.
But
crazy.
Yeah, very crazy.
So anyway, you want to talk about the end of round 1 just real quick?
Well, yeah, should we I don't know, should we recap I feel like it's too
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, or maybe the big storylines. Let's go with the Boston Bruins and Florida Panthers. I mean,
nuts. I'm still trying to get over that. And this Florida team has been crazy.
Yeah.
They steamrolled their next 2 opponents, which one I was very upset about. Huge Leafs fan, if you don't already know. And that's another big story too. Coming out of round 1 was how they did. But just honestly, did anybody think the Bruins were really gonna win the Stanley Cup? I didn't. I didn't think they'd go all the way. I didn't.
I didn't either, because in precedent and history, the President's Trophy, the team that dominates, usually does not end up winning because, as we know, the season is totally different than the playoffs. It's a whole different season.
It's totally true.
I will say, though, there's a lot of brackets that I saw that obviously had the Bruins in it, and I'm not surprised that they did. But, like, yeah, we both knew, though.
Yeah,
like, there was a good chance that they wouldn't win, but we both expected them to go further than the first round, right?
I think so,
like,
right?
I had them in my cup final, I think.
I had them in, I think I had them in the second round or third round. Like, who did I? Oh, yeah, because I had Leafs beating them, right? Of course. That would have been an interesting series, Leafs and Bruins.
Yeah.
Do you think the Leafs could have pulled it off? Like, they definitely would have rallied a little harder, I feel like, than they did.
Yeah, you never know. It's hard to say, like, if that happened. Who knows? But, like, I think the Bruins would have won that, but
I don't know.
Yeah,
but in that Leafs series, first of all, I was just super happy to see them finally make it out of the first round.
Yeah.
And no big deal. Might have been at Maple Leaf Square, watching the game. When
timed it perfectly.
Yeah. So me and a couple buds went out to Toronto, and we got to. I guess it's a bad time to sip when I'm telling the story. It's been a while, guys. You know. Yeah. We went out to Toronto and timed it perfectly. We went to go to this kind of like the whiteout party in Winnipeg, but it's the street party for the Leafs playoff games. And we went there. We're scoping things out around 5 for a 7 o'clock start. It's already bustling.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm going through the full story here.
Yeah.
It's already bustling with Leafs jerseys and everybody's hyped, right? And then we go. We talked to this guy. We're like, we don't have the tickets because we went. So the day before, I have the Leafs app. I pulled it out. I went to get these tickets. Right, they're free. You just have to get them. And they opened at 1 o'clock. I went at 1:05. They're sold out. Wow. Kind of my bad. I choked it a little, but that's just what happened. So
sounds like completely your fault.
Kind of like today, but so we don't have tickets. We're there, and we're standing outside this gate. And we're talking to this guy, and he's like, well, you know what? If you stay and maybe give him a bit of a sob story, like about how you're from Winnipeg and whatnot, like they sometimes let extra people in because there's no shows and whatnot. So we're like, all right, guess we'll do that. And then we geared up at Dollarama, got some ponchos because it was raining, and came back. Yeah, came back. We do need the whole story. It's going somewhere, by the way. And so we get back, and then we're waiting there for like half an hour. There's a big crowd of us waiting outside the gate, and then finally they're like, the one guy's like, "You guys are all getting in," and then like the way he said, he's like, we're all pushing to get into this line, and he's like, "Guys, stay back," and then we're like, ended up pushing in again, and he's like, guys, you're all getting in. It's fine. And then, but then we all were like, yeah, like, and so we all got hyped up, right? Get in there. It's awesome. So sick. And it was the first time in my life, because from Winnipeg, no one else likes the Leafs, really. Like, you have a couple token Leafs fans, but you're kind of like, not ashamed, but you don't like, nobody is ever like, oh, you're a Leafs fan? I'm a Leafs fan too. Let's go.
Yeah, you certainly don't fit in as a Leafs fan in Winnipeg.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So everyone there was a Leafs fan, obviously. And so it felt so weird. I fit in for the first, with the Leafs, being a Leafs fan. So that was pretty crazy. And just, yeah, when Tavares scored that goal, like, it was just nuts. Yeah. Like, the whole place erupted. The downtown erupted. Like, I remember I saw it. I'm like, that's a terrible angle shot. Like, what is he doing? And then I saw him start celebrating because you can't really see in the first broadcast angle the puck go in, right? And but everybody started going nuts, and it was just it went complete mayhem from there. I know this is a long story, but it's getting better. It's getting better too. So we got everybody's screaming up and down, and just like, I can't believe this. Like,
it was a hype moment.
Oh, it was so hype, and the chanting and just. It was an instant mosh pit too. So everyone was like shoving each other around, screaming, and so happy. And then so we're all, there's like 1,500 or so of us, I'm pretty sure, because I think that was the capacity. Kind of small considering the size of Toronto, but whatever. We're exiting onto this street. We're exiting the gated area onto this street in downtown Toronto. and there's police there to try and get like direct traffic across the intersection, and then all of a sudden like there's just a big clump of people trying to cross the intersection, and then I like turned around, and then like I just couldn't see any more road. It was just people like just everywhere. I don't know where all these people came from. It was all the sports bars nearby, the buildings nearby, crazy, and everyone's chanting, singing. Like, oh, it was
climbing the streetlights.
Then that happened, right? And there's just a sea of people over the whole intersection. Like, yeah, that was so cool, and just being there, like being a Leafs fan.
Yeah,
it was nuts.
That's actually sick that you got to experience that.
Totally. Yeah. And the last little bit is that this one business thought it'd be a good idea to like hand out free sticky buns, or I don't know if they're sticky, they're sweet buns. But
sounds expensive.
No, free. Yeah, I know, but they're handing out these free sweet buns to a crowd of like crazed, hyped up people, most of them drunk or whatever too. And
what? No.
Well, and then no, but we get these free sweet buns, and then I'm like, oh, they're all right, whatever. Then you got like 3 left, and then all of a sudden, like, what just went by my head? Like someone just threw a sweet bun, and then like another one went by, and then there's a complete food fight of like these like thousands of people just whipping these sweet buns back and forth, and then you could see them quickly packing up the cart because it's like they don't want to be a part of that. But yeah, and then just the walk back to where we could finally get an Uber, like every person you passed is just like, let's go, like dapping everybody up. It was super cool. So that was a cool experience for me.
Yeah. That's sick. I want to experience that in Winnipeg, man.
That would be cool if that came to Winnipeg. I'm telling you, we gotta get something going here. Yeah. What do you think about the Jets' first round exit?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
That's actually a good transition.
You let me know.
Good shit. Yeah. Obviously, they didn't win. They lost in 5 games to the Golden Knights. And before, I think you said Jets in 7 or 6, and
I probably said 6.
Yeah, I said Golden Knights in 7. But I mean, like, at the end of the day, we both knew like what team the Golden Knights were gonna be. I mean, they're a team with good depth, good defense, and not a great goalie.
Right.
And going into it, we're like, the series depends on what game the Jets want to play.
Yeah.
The first game, outstanding. That was probably the best game they played all season. Like, I don't even think it's close. That was like their most complete game.
Totally.
And then after that, it's just like nobody showed up, nobody stepped up. Connor Hellebuyck wasn't Connor Hellebuyck really. Like,
I
he
agree.
was just okay.
And throughout the series, he still made some real nice stops and some game savers, but too many. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Unfortunately, and especially as a goalie too, we both agree with this.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many nice saves you make. If you let in 5 goals, like you let in 5 goals.
The Jets in playoffs, especially, you cannot be letting in like 4 goals every game. The Jets, first game is an exception. After that, they were letting in like 4 or 5 goals every game. You can't be doing that. And like, obviously, it wasn't like the Jets did not lose. I think everyone can agree the Jets did not lose because of Connor Hellebuyck. Like,
no,
he was good, but like relative to expectations of Connor Hellebuyck level, he was not Connor Hellebuyck. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just going into it, I was like, if the Jets need Connor Hellebuyck to steal some games, and the Jets need to play their game. They need to play a complete game, and they got unlucky with injuries. Josh Morrissey, Mark Scheifele, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's not just injuries, right? Vegas is the better team. I'm gonna be honest.
No.
Like, Vegas was just the better team.
I disagree.
Like, no,
I disagree.
I mean, like in the playoffs, they were the better team.
Like,
okay.
Okay.
They were just the better team in the playoffs.
I totally agree. They played better in games 2 through 5, of course.
Yeah.
And completely outplayed the Jets. The thing is, and we had the injuries as well, right? So you can't ignore that, but
it's certainly a factor, but it's not like you can just excuse like that. I'm sorry, that game 5 effort. Like if you didn't see, viewers who are watching, if you didn't see that game 5, it's like at no point. It was a complete waste of your time if you were watching. Like, that was probably one of the worst performances I've ever seen, especially with your backs on the wall in a game where you're like, if you lose, you're eliminated from the playoffs.
It just seemed like everybody gave up on the Jets. Hey?
Like especially, I don't know how. Yeah, it's crazy because like going into the game too, they had like the pressers like we're still confident, we're ready to play, and then like so it's like all talk, and then the fact that they like don't even back like the fact that they didn't even back it up, but like they played like so much worse than just like the minimum is like I don't know. There has to be some changes, and obviously there's gonna be some changes, and we'll be talking about that in the off season.
Totally, all true.
Sorry for the rant there, but
no, I agree. Like it's just it's tough because it seemed like mid game they just kind of gave up on the Jets. They're like, you know what, it's just not gonna be this year.
Like it's what Rick Bowness said. Play with some pride. Like,
and I love Rick Bowness, especially throughout that entire series. He was so honest and harsh and emotional, and you want that out of a coach.
You need emotion in the game. And like the players, like Game 5, like nobody showed up. Didn't look like anyone was showing any emotion. And I think I can say this on behalf of all Jets fans. We're glad that he, like you said, said that at the end of Game 5.
Totally.
Like they needed to be called out for that. So.
And I can't wait for us to retool and fix this team.
Fix the culture.
Get rid of the
Wheeler and Scheifele.
Yeah, get rid of Wheeler and Scheifele.
And Dubois, honestly, Dubois is a good player, but if he doesn't want to be here, like get the hell out of here, man. Like, I'm just
get out now before we have to go through it again. Of like, oh, maybe he'll want to stay. Like, just get out now. Just go.
Did you see that thing I sent you about Nino Niederreiter? Did you see that post?
Yeah, the one where he was talking about Winnipeg. What he said about Winnipeg?
Yeah, he's like, you gotta give it a chance. And like, when you go there, and like as a visiting team, you go there for a day, and you're just in the hotel, and so you don't really get to like experience, like we said, like when you're on the team, and you get to see the city and like see how the organization like treats the players and like be around and like the great fan base. He's like, it's like my opinions on Winnipeg have changed.
Yeah,
and I think that's amazing because it's great that players like Nino Niederreiter actually like value and like appreciate both like the market and like city of Winnipeg, and I think that's great.
Yeah, and I think they're here. It's pretty clear you get treated like a hometown hero kind of thing. Even if you're not from here, right? That doesn't make it hometown, but yeah.
But like, I just feel like players like Mark Scheifele and Blake Wheeler have almost like taken for granted like all the love that they've gotten here, and I also think that they're like. I feel like they expect Winnipeg to thank them for be willing to play here as opposed to them appreciating playing here.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can rant on this team for days, but let's move on here.
Yeah, at least it's not the Canucks though.
Yeah, the Canucks. We talked about this but
anything else? I think let's move on to round 2, right?
Yeah, let's move on to round 2. Actually first,
knew it.
Well, I didn't really okay, I don't love talking about it because it hurts my ego, but
how I just beat you in FIFA.
Fisher beat me in FIFA by 1 goal.
England beat Italy, so obviously England is a superior country.
I don't know how I lost that game. I hit 2. I mean, I didn't play great, but I was
all over you, bud.
No, I hit 2 crossbars.
To put it in context, I've played FIFA probably about 3 times in my life.
I wasn't trying.
Compared to, FIFA 09 on the DS, bro. Do you remember that? Yeah. That was sick. No, but I played FIFA like 3 times on console. Most of them have been against you.
Okay,
I just clapped you. I just clapped you.
No.
1-0.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, move on. Yeah.
First round, first ever edition money line for playoffs.
Yeah, playoff money line.
Fisher went 50-50. It's pretty good.
Let's go.
He went 5. Or no, actually, wait. Oh, more than 50-50. Good shit. You went 5 for 8 in the first round.
Just change? Oh, I went 5 for 8 in the first round.
For first round, you're 50-50. Like
5 for 8. That's
5 for 8 in the first round.
Pretty wicked. Not gonna lie.
And then you were 1 for 4 in the second round, so a total of 6 for 12. After round 1 and 2, so that's really good. Me, on the other hand, 3 for 8 in the first round. Yikes. And 1 for 4 as well. In the second round for 4 for 12. So
I see. It's tough. Sometimes it's hard being this good at predicting the games, but
I don't know. Like,
I have someone has to do it, right? Like
you've consistently been better at predicting scores. I don't understand.
You know what? Can we go back? Whoa, bump the whole table. Can we go back to when I completely predicted the Leafs series, first round series? I predicted it to a T. I said game 1, the Leafs will get spanked or blown out. What did you say?
I was like, no, just boost your ego.
A little louder. Yeah. No, I said game.
You said game one.
Game one,
the
Leafs would get spanked, and then they just come out and shut down the Lightning. I mean, there were obviously some overtime and comeback games, whatever.
Oh, yeah. Well, 3 in overtime.
But it was still, they still shut them down. They still shut them down.
Yeah, and like a big storyline is also like Vasilevsky did not have a good series at all. Like the Leafs just, I don't know what it is, but the Leafs, like even last year, like the Leafs just solved Vasilevsky.
Yeah.
And like they definitely like have
They have his number.
Yeah, they have his number, and
you know what I noticed?
Point shots, man.
I was just gonna say what I noticed this series is that Vasilevsky, while he is a really good goalie, when you take away his eyes, he is lost.
He struggles.
He struggles so poorly at seeing shots from the point, and
it's also like, sorry if you're.
No, go ahead.
I was also gonna say I think it's like a defensive structure issue too, because after a while, like, I feel like the Tampa like coaching staff just has to teach the players to just adjust. Like, if like if the Leafs are just taking a bunch of shots from the blue line, dude, you gotta like someone just gotta get in the shooting lanes and like block it. Or like at least
get sticks out there.
Yeah, too. Get sticks. Or if you're not gonna block it, man, at least get away and try and move the Leafs players out of the way so the goalie can see the puck.
Yeah,
like you gotta adjust. I feel like there's no adjustment from Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
and I don't know, but gotta give credit to the Leafs though too. They played really good, and they came clutch for like the first time. Like, cause would they ever win in overtime in the playoffs? Like never.
No,
and they won 3 straight.
They clutched.
Yeah,
clutch city for the Leafs. Yeah, that was all around awesome to see. So, to just recap that, like, the champion, of course, of Moneyline is me. Yeah. Just to rub that back in again.
Okay,
also beat you in
Where
FIFA.
Is this going? Okay.
And now let's move on to a little more. Are we talking a bit about round 2, or do we want to just move in through?
We'll just talk about. I just want to bring up one more thing, and then let's just go right into what happened tonight.
Okay.
I just want to. I never really compliment you, but I gotta say, I'm impressed with the Seattle Kraken prediction. Because I don't think many people had the Seattle Kraken defeating the defending Stanley Cup champs.
Yeah.
And you predicted them winning in 6. So, I mean, you're a game off, but, I mean, you still got it right, so I'm impressed with that. So, good shit.
Here's my thing. Am I a bit of a softie for the underdogs? A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit of a softie for the underdogs. But the real thing is everybody's talking about how the Avs were just like so good still, and how like Landeskog's gonna come back, which he didn't. But and like once everyone will be healthy and they're gonna be nuts, because they did go on that run late in the season, but they did not seem like that big of a threat to me.
I agreed with you, and I didn't agree with you in terms of Seattle winning, but I did agree that they're overrated. Because I remember saying, like,
they are.
Looking at their roster, like, they're not, like, they're a good team. They're not a great team.
They're not that.
And so, like, dude, I had them beating Seattle, but, like, I knew Dallas was going to beat Minnesota. I had Dallas beating Colorado. Like, I didn't think they were going to make it past the second round. I don't think they're that good. And I also think, like you said, Landeskog, man, that's a big loss. Like, he's their captain. He's, like, a big part of that group.
Yeah.
And that was also a big loss. But I think the depth's gone. Like Burakovsky.
Yeah.
Burakovsky was a big loss.
They moved some depth pieces that they needed, right? And that's just not gonna. And who's in net for them again?
Georgiev, and he was very good actually in the series.
Right.
He was lights out for them.
But so was their
Grubauer.
Their goalie from last year, right?
Yeah.
So which is funny because Grubauer.
2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, Kemper was playing.
Yes. Good.
But yeah, former goalie. But
the thing about Grubauer is he. Like, I don't know.
Shit regular season.
Yeah, exactly. He's an interesting goalie. Let's just leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
And another goalie who's interesting, who always seems to shit the bed in the regular season, who's been lights out in the playoffs, Sergei Bobrovsky. So we're getting back onto the Panthers train. As we record this is about an hour after the Panthers just won Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Eastern Conference Finals versus the Carolina Hurricanes. Matthew Tkachuk, I believe, scored 4 seconds left in the game,
which is crazy. Like, I can't imagine fighting your way back to tie that 3-2 game to 3-3, right?
Yeah.
with about that around the 2-3 minute mark.
2-3 minute mark, yeah.
Yeah, and then 4 seconds left.
Yeah.
I could honestly, I'm going back to that play. Like, I'm not sure what Frederik Andersen was trying to do.
The defenseman was like right on him.
He was.
Could have like.
I felt like there was still room, and I feel like Cup final or not Cup final, sorry, but Eastern Conference final or just your team season on the line. Either way, you got to be getting a little more of your body over because there was a whole lot of net. But maybe it was the angle. Maybe there's more like because there was it Bennett, I think, in front? Somebody's stick.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's Bennett's stick was underneath him, kind of. I don't know if he was like
a little
clipped him, but I don't
controversy, but like not really.
I'd still call that a clean goal. Yeah.
But
and then whoever the defender was,
Slavin maybe. I can't remember.
No, it's Pesci. Actually, it's Pesci. He, like he was on top of Anderson, kind of, but he's still like there was a little bit of ice between them when I was looking at the replay, and like I kind of feel like he just misjudged it. I kind of feel like Anderson just and
you know what though?
It happens. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good point to bring up. At the end of the day, the Hurricanes put themselves in that position down 3-0 in this series. So I mean, it was kind of. Yeah. It was kind of
or a stupid penalty, or a stupid penalty late in the game, right?
It's not a stupid like it was already over at that point. Like I know technically it's not over, but 3-0. Like we kind of all knew Florida was gonna win at some point. So now they got like a week's rest, and they get to recover for most likely on the other side the Vegas Golden Knights, which is also another potential sweep of the Dallas Stars, which is crazy because going into that series I kind of had a like 7 maybe game 7.
Oh yeah, like that was going back and forth for sure.
Dallas was a very good team, and Fish, just why don't you take the viewers through this series so far?
Well,
and what's transpired?
I think one of the biggest things, and might be a pivotal point.
There you go.
In that series is just the Jamie Benn crosscheck. Because it's right at the beginning, right at a crucial point of a game where you're down 2-0 already, and you need this one, right? So you're already. I think they're down 2 already at the time of the crosscheck. He takes a 5-minute match penalty.
Or like you mean like 2-0 in the series or the game?
I thought it was the game. I thought it was 2-3.
No, it was
3?
It was like 1-0.
Or was it 1?
Yeah.
And then with 7 minutes into the game, you're down 4-0, wasn't it? Around that mark. 3-4 nothing.
But yeah, I mean
that's like you can't come back from. So Vegas, we saw it against the Jets. They are a shutdown, lockdown defensive team. They have no problem holding a lead. You can't go down 4-0 to Vegas. Dude, so that's what I gotta say.
Yeah, like I totally agree because. Like you said, they locked down. Like after it was 4-0, dude. Like the rest of the way, it was just 4-0. Like they were nothing happened.
Nope.
For 2 periods, nothing happened.
And
it was just
I don't
lock down, just clog the neutral zone, don't allow shit, and then they win.
And I feel like Aiden Hill was good, but
didn't have to be amazing.
Right.
They didn't test them.
Right.
And I actually totally agree with the Jamie Benn part because let's be honest, the first 2 games it's 2-0, but they're both overtime. They're both toss-ups. Like
totally.
They both games.
They're close games,
like,
right? Like
say Dallas wins both of them, it's Dallas winning 2-0. Like it's either way, it's a toss-up. Going into the game 3, like a minute into the game, bro, you're the captain of your team.
Yeah.
You gotta control your emotions on that play. I don't understand. That is like one of the more stupid plays I've ever. Like that is ridiculous. I don't know what was Jamie Benn doing.
Yeah, I like the get it in there.
What was Jamie Benn doing? That's a perfect short clip right there. What was Jamie Benn doing? I don't know what he was doing. You're a captain of your team. Lead by example. Control your emotions.
My only defense is that it's one of those you're pissed off and then
can't justify it.
No, I'm not justifying. I'm not justifying. But I am saying like I think he's pissed off and it's one of those he hits him kind of and then he's down, right? So you're kind of over top of the guy and in hockey a lot of time if you're like it's not uncommon that a little like kind of cross check on the guy who's kind of already falling off you and you like push him down, whatever, that's fine. Where the issue is you can see that he deliberately chose to target the neck.
Yeah, it was like the neck
head area, which is
like.
And for those who don't play hockey or haven't played hockey with visors, that
the crosscheck's hurt.
So much. It's like, yeah.
Like, especially in the NHL, these guys
are
so strong.
Oh,
imagine the force and the stick is like,
and the speed.
That hurts, yeah.
The amount of force they can like generate. It sounds weird, but it's true.
It's
like
true.
The amount of just speed and impact and force in a
very like
span
sensitive
of 2
area.
feet.
And like, I know what you're saying about like sometimes when players are down or like on their knees,
like they're falling, you push them off.
They'll like give them a little cross check, but like. And that's usually in the corners. When they're battling for the puck, they'll give them a couple cross checks when they're working and trying to get the puck out of the corner. But this is like I don't know. It's like a very like malicious cross. Like it's not just like a love.
No place for it. No place for it. I was not defending. I was just saying.
No, I know.
I understand what he was trying to do, and I understand how he could like not think it through in the moment, but I could not think something through in the moment and still not make a violent play like that.
Yeah.
Where like that's intent to injure. Like there's no what that's what that is.
That was for sure a Peros there, man. Like, George Peros, man.
Do you want to talk about this then?
Yes.
Let's do Peros or Parole?
Peros or Parole, yeah. Okay. Let's
explain it. Explain it real quick.
Okay, well, Peros or Parole, so basically, for the viewers if you may not know, the head of player safety is former NHLer George Peros.
Which is kind of ironic considering the way that he played the game. But
yeah, he was like, wasn't he like an enforcer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of fights.
Yeah, so we thought we'd do like a segment, kind of like Suspend or Not, kind of like that.
Like we're trying to like
just add some segments to like make it more, some more like posts and
that way
interesting.
You can kind of think about it like. What's the suspension on this? Is there going to be a suspension on this? Different plays, right?
Just like it's controversy, right? So it's like
we love controversy.
I mean, like this play was like not very controversial in terms of like everyone knew he was going to get suspended.
Yeah.
But it's still fun to like talk about it and see how many games he's going to get. So obviously Peros, which means he gets a suspension, or Parole, which he gets released, or like no suspension and just like gets left off the hook, basically.
Right.
So. Yeah, that's a cool segment, and we plan to do that in the future for any potential suspension-worthy plays, and we'll be posting it, and
where can we find it? It's on
our Instagram.
There it is. Yep.
Yes,
yep.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder to plug. What's the official Instagram name?
I believe
know
it's
this.
FNF podcast.
The FNF pod or
the
something?
FNF podcast.
Yeah,
the FNF podcast. Or is it the FNF show? No, We'll put it on the screen right now.
Yeah.
You're gonna forget to do
and
that.
And also, Twitter too, because we'll start posting on Twitter. So.
That's
right
all
there.
you. That's all
right
you.
Right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's all you, by the way. That's gonna be all you. I hate Twitter. That's gonna be all you. You're putting.
But no. But look.
It's right. Like
it's like right there.
That's gonna be really helpful for people listening to this in their car.
Yeah, they're like, "What the hell is going on?"
These guys, man.
But so that's it for the Peros or Parole segment, really.
And I guess one other change too is we're gonna try and get on Apple Podcasts as well.
Yeah, we just want to like expand and like try and like make it easier for as many people to watch and like listen to and stuff like that. So
because I feel like
more versatility, you know.
I feel like we're doing good at what we're doing. We just got to get it out there.
We got to get it out there. We got to like advertise it a bit better.
Yeah.
And so
make it worth its while.
Yeah.
So on the topic of dirty, disgusting, gross, doesn't belong in hockey plays.
Yes.
What the hell?
Okay. Fabry?
First of all, no.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were jumping on that. Okay. Yeah. Let's hear it.
Okay. First of all, I don't know what is with Team Canada at this IHF World Championship. Like 2 or 3 very dirty plays, but the big one is Veleno.
Okay. Yeah. I mixed it
up.
up. I was
knew you were thinking.
Veleno, but I was like, they kind of look similar.
Yeah, I guess
kind of look similar.
I don't know, but
yeah,
that was foul. That there's no place for that in hockey. And I hope, I don't know. I hope when he steps on, he's with Detroit? Is he?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, he is.
I hope when he steps back on the NHL ice surface, I hope if the next time Nino Niederreiter sees him on an NHL ice surface, on any ice surface, that he drops the gloves and beats the ever-living shit out of Joe. Like, there is no play. That is so disgusting.
The intent is, like, it's the most intentional.
I can't believe stomping. Yeah. Like, we've heard the horror stories. There's been, like, remember, who was it in practice, in one of the Jets practices, because all we know is the Jets, where they just got clipped by a skate blade and then were almost bled out or something. I think it was Brian Lidl or, like, Shifley or something. I don't know.
Even this year, and he actually took to Twitter, Evander Kane.
Yeah.
He also had a very, like, similar dangerous cut where he was out for, like 2-3 months.
To the wrist, right? And they went to the bone.
Yeah,
right?
And it was like, man, like, skates are, like, they're no joke, people. Like,
I couldn't imagine stomping on another player, like, and it was totally deliberate. He only got 5 games. I would have personally banned him from the tournament, like, for that event.
I think
I would have kicked him from that event.
I think 5 games might be the max on the tournament, actually.
Oh,
but I mean, yeah, you should still, like, just for in case, just like the whole
those.
You know what I would do? I don't know. I don't think it's extreme at all, but I'd, like, actually seriously just ban him from IIHF.
Yeah, I think. I think they'd have to.
Don't let him play at, like, future World Championships. Just don't let him play.
I think that's fair enough. I agree too. I was saying like at the very least throw him out of that tournament. Like,
yeah,
like that. I just can't wrap my head around how that can be, like.
Man,
that's terrible.
I understand.
I can only like yeah. It's so dangerous. It's so, and right on his Achilles too, like right in that area, like lower calf. Just
I don't care how frustrated you are. You cannot be doing that, Stevie Yzerman. I don't know where you are right now, but I literally, right after I see my player do that, you give him a phone call on Stevie Yzerman, and you talk, man.
You
give
tell
him a little fuck. You give him a little that, man.
Watch that language.
Little body language there.
Yeah,
man. Stevie Y, man, he knows what to do. He's got to talk some sense into that player. That is crazy.
I can't believe I saw that. Like I remember watching the clip over, and I was like, oh, like maybe he like thought it was the ice or something, and not actually, but yeah. I kept watching over. I'm like, how did this happen? How do you stomp on another, like?
You want to know another thing though?
What?
Just in hockey, it's crazy. Like, just how the game has evolved so much is, like, before you just have, like, one pair of skates and just one blade throughout the whole game. Now, man, players are, like, switching out their blades every period, every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So their blades are always so sharp.
Razor sharp,
and so the fact that, like, man, I just can't believe, like, player skates have never been so sharp ever before. So just, like, I don't know.
And I mean, it's good.
Crazy.
It's good that that most of these guys, and I'm assuming that's what Niederreiter was wearing, but most of them have like Kevlar like all the way down, right? So it's not cutting.
And also, like, sorry, no, you go.
I was just gonna say, like, I seriously don't understand how that's allowed to happen.
Also, just like a little focusing less on Joe Veleno, I just want to say I'm, like, very happy that Nino is, like, Nino Niederreiter is very like, he's fine, and because that could have gone, like, really bad. So I'm just glad that Niederreiter's fine. And I also have a special place in my heart for him because he's a Winnipeg Jet now.
And because he said the Jets that Winnipeg's a good place to live, right?
So we got a soft spot for Nino more. Yeah. So
and like,
I mean, obviously any player would be like
but
we're just glad he's okay.
Yeah. So. And that's all I can say about it, man. I almost threw up when I saw that. Like, that was foul. That's
also
terrible.
Shifting quickly to
move on.
Our first Paris or Parole. What do you think about the 2 game? Like, do you agree with that, with the 2 game? Because
I think back to some of the other ones that were 1 game, and I guess it's a little. It makes me wonder a little bit, but
because I honestly think it could have been more.
3.
I kind of knew that it was gonna be 2, but I was also like, you know what? That could honestly be like 3 or 4.
I wouldn't have been. This is the issue, and I'm glad that the NHL at least made the right decision, and I'm glad they made the right decision on the ice too. Like I'm glad kick him out right away, right? Because sometimes they don't, right? Sometimes it's just a double minor or whatever. Yeah, I wouldn't have been like shocked if that ended up going to like just one game, because I could see them doing that, right? Like it was a terrible play, but I could still see the NHL being like, oh yeah, whatever. It's I don't know what. Sometimes I don't know what their criteria is.
Well, there's no consistency at all. But I agree with like the two. I don't think one is enough, and I feel like if it was only one, I feel like the players would be paying for it on the ice, if it makes sense.
I agree.
Because sometimes if the players don't agree with it, then they're gonna sometimes the games can get out of hand. So I think it was good.
Especially when you have such a big series lead. It's not that big of a deal to start sending out the goons a little. And
exactly, that's true.
Easy up on the structure play, but maybe go a little tougher.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's interesting. We'll see. I honestly think Vegas is just going to end it in Game 4, but we'll see.
I'm starting to be kind of skeptical. For some reason, I'm starting to think that Dallas will at least get Game 4.
Yeah, we'll see. But if they don't, maybe they can end
put a little money on it. Go wager.
Hey.
Maybe on the pod. We'll do it on the pod. On the pod, comment of just just for bragging rights.
Okay.
I think it'll be finished in games 5 to 7, and you think it's gonna be finished in Game 4.
5 to 7. Your odds are way higher.
Yeah, but
no.
you said you think they're gonna finish it off. I'm just saying they're not gonna finish it off.
Okay.
It's the same thing. It's just different, worded differently.
Okay, well,
you
think game?
Game
5.
Just so it sounds nice in your head.
Okay.
Game 4. I think that Dallas will win.
Okay.
And you think that Vegas will win.
Okay, yeah,
it's the same thing as what I.
Well. No, because if they didn't win Game 4 or 5, and they won in Game 6 or 7.
Okay, I was gonna cap it at Game 4.
Okay.
So that was okay. Yeah, that's fair. I didn't actually say that out loud, so fair enough. But another thing you're gonna lose. Like I just so many things, man. I just have to.
Are we putting money on it?
Maybe, but this is just for bragging rights.
Okay.
This is just for bragging rights.
Sure.
Maybe we can see.
So I want to talk a bit more. I don't want to talk about too much. Just a bit more about the Hurricanes-Panthers series, because I want to address this record, which is very concerning to me, and I think Carolina needs to address it.
Yeah.
So we have a stat here, and the Hurricanes' last 3 appearances in the conference finals, they have a record of 0-12. So they've gone swept in all 3.
Which is not good.
You can't go any lower than
that.
No,
that's the worst you get in 12 games.
Yeah,
there.
just for reference, 2009 versus Pittsburgh, so that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Obviously got swept. 2019 versus Boston, they got swept, and then currently today, losing their 4th game versus Florida.
Didn't they win in 2008? I believe. 2007 or 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
So you can't feel too badly for them at that.
No,
the 2009, but
I think
last 2.
I was gonna say I think it's more amplified towards the last 2 because it's like the same core, obviously, right? And I think one thing that I would say about that is I think it's also because Carolina lacks a superstar player or like a really good goal scorer to like get them over that hump. I still think
I think it'll be Jarvis in a couple of years, because he's been playing so well.
It's still too early to say, but I'm leaning just like a player like in his prime who's proven. Like Jarvis is still so young.
Yeah.
Like for example, what they were missing was a Max Pacioretty. Like he was injured.
Yeah.
That's what they got him in the offseason, and you know what? They could also be. I wonder about Mark Scheifele actually.
I was just gonna say, yeah,
because he's not. I don't know how he'd work in the system with Carolina because he's not a defensive player at all. But at the end of the day, if you stick him in Ron Brittamore's system, he can like change any player to defensive guy, and he put up 42 tucks this year, right?
Yeah.
He can put the puck in the back of the net. I think
no big deal.
In the last 2 conference finals matchups, and even in the playoffs in general, I think they're lacking a true goal scorer. Like Aho is a great player. He's more of a playmaker, and he's not going to put up 40. He's not going to put up 40 or like.
He's not going to put up enough like
super clutch goal. They need a super clutch goal scorer.
Yeah.
And so I think in the offseason, that's what they should be looking for. They need someone like Mark Scheifele, or just any
trade for Bedard.
But like Florida, I mean, it's consistent. Every like team that wins the Stanley Cup always had like. I mean, Florida obviously they barely squeaked in the playoffs.
It's Tkachuk.
But Tkachuk has shown he's been so clutch for him.
He's so good. He's so good.
Basically, he carried them into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And he Game 5 OT winner, which kept them in this series, brought it back to Florida. Scored 2 goals in that game, I believe, and then back to Game 7.
Yeah.
Sets up the game 1 to Carter Verhaeghe. They end.
And they battled that series.
They battled that series. Man, Paul Maurice, give them credit. He has them like dogging it out there, man.
Yeah.
Like they are playing some like very good, like constant pressure. Like
they're
hockey.
just playing
they're
hard.
All over you. They smother you. They smother you defensively.
They give you
they're
nothing.
All over you.
And and oh man, like when I watched that overtime, I watched all 4 overtimes.
Yeah.
And like the amount or just the way that they were able to play such good defense even after playing 2 and a bit games in one, like literally 6 periods and then going into their 7th, and it, like just the way they were able to keep up, like and they still, the way it started going was like it'd be great lockdown defense and then a big chance, and that was going both ways. But the fact that they were able to still lock down enough to, and part of that's Bob, right?
Yeah, he's been lights out,
unreal.
10 and 2 record. 935 save percentage, 2.15 goals against average. Outstanding.
So good. It's been so fun to watch as a goalie. Like, and he makes that same blocker save every game, and it's crazy every time. Dude, I'm like, how does he get across so quick?
The turnaround is crazy. I mean, bro, Alex Lyon took his job at the end of the regular season.
Yeah.
Alex Lyon was a big part of carrying them into the playoffs.
Yeah.
When they went on that run, like a fringe NHL goaltender. He was literally playing in the AHL for like most of his career. He literally took his starting job, and now the fact that he's playing like, I don't know, he's like top 3 goal. Like
it goes to show. Good. It goes to show, and this is like I'm gonna just make sure I drive this point home here, so we can get even a clip of it, because I think it's real good. I think it's real good. It's like Sergei Bobrovsky right now, how he's playing proves how much of a mental game goaltending is, because you can be the best goalie in the NHL and have low confidence in your abilities and then be beaten by a fringe starter. I don't think he is the best goalie in the NHL, but I'm saying you could be a top 4, top 5, because he's certainly playing like it right now.
Yeah.
In fact, right now he's playing like he's top 3, right?
Yeah.
You can be that, and he was a couple of years ago too, right? Bob on the job.
He's a playoff goalie.
He's a playoff goalie.
With Columbus, he's always been a playoff goalie.
Yeah,
regular season he's not been great, but playoffs he's always shown up. So you got to give him credit. He's always shown up in the playoffs.
That's true, and I'm just saying, like, but it goes to show how much when the game's on the line, and when you have confidence, you can be a way better goalie than even if you have all the tools. You're one of the best in the league, but you're lacking confidence, and there's just not that much pressure. Right?
No, I totally agree.
It's something I found.
Yeah, confidence is it's all about mindset, man. Goaltending is 90% mental.
Yeah.
And he's been lights out for Florida, along with Matthew Tkachuk, as we talked about. He's been insane. Shifting over to the other series, Golden Knights and Stars, man, Jack Eichel has like really broken out and like proved he's like a star in this league.
Yeah.
He has been so good. He was like okay against the Jets. He kind of blew onto the scene, I want to say, against Edmonton, and now he's just like dominated.
Yeah.
With Jonathan Marchessault on his line, they have been so good together. Just talk a little bit about how Jack Eichel has just impacted this series.
Well, it's been nuts, man. Like, you go back and you see him in Buffalo, right? And he couldn't quite make it work there, right? Like he'd be good,
unmotivated, I want to say, because when
it's hard to be motivated in that environment,
when you're losing all the time, it's hard. But
and then maybe that just puts, like, if I'm gonna take my same point and ride with it here, it goes to show just how much hockey can be a mental game too. Because if you get, if you get
Siri's not sure about that.
Siri's not sure if it can be a mental game for sure. If you can be at the top of your game when on a competitive team when it matters the most, it does miracles for a player, and I think that's how he's been able to do this in that big Western Conference Final series.
Yeah, for sure. He's just being like integrated into that winning culture in the Vegas locker room has been so huge for him.
And then never mind his speed. He's so quick. He's so quick.
And he's strong on the puck, man. And I guess on the other side, Rope Hintz, Jason Robertson, and Joe Pavelski, that first line just hasn't been good enough. And we've seen that, I mean, throughout the last couple years, when the Stars, when their first line isn't going, I mean, they don't have the depth to back it up. So ultimately, the Dallas Stars, they ride or die on that first line. Yep. If that first line is going, they are going.
And Onger this year.
Yeah, and Onger too. And
who's been...
And another thing, that brings a good point. Onger has been fantastic this playoffs. This series, he's been meh.
Shaky.
And I want to say last game, he had 2 like questionable goals. And for the Stars to win, going into the series, we knew that he had to be good.
Yeah.
Or great. He hasn't been that. So that's why they're down 3-0.
But it's not over.
It's not over.
They can turn it around.
They can turn it around, but
I always think just how much, like, especially you go through, never mind, you've gone through the whole season, right? Yeah. So the season's over, and then you get to this point in the conference finals or the Stanley Cup finals. For the past like month and a half or 2 months, like you've been just, absolutely like going through the gauntlet with like emotions and just everything.
It's
like,
just a roller coaster of emotions.
Totally, and it's so stressful. Like, think about being down 3-0 and then coming back and winning, but then being like, okay, now we have to go face another team.
Yeah,
and it's like,
well, it's like it also brings up like the rust versus rust point, right? Because it's like when you're coming back, when you come back from 0-3 and then you got to play like in a couple days, and then the other team that might have a bunch of rest, like it's mentally and physically too, obviously it's like it's very challenging, but we've obviously seen it. It's obviously happened before. It's happened like 4 times, but I mean the most recent one was like 2013 or something, LA or something.
Which is crazy too, because LA is a lot like this Panthers team, because that Los Angeles team was the 8th seed as well.
Yeah, they were the 8th seed. That's a good point.
And they came back, and it was just like you saw them like. You couldn't really tell what it was, but they just had a way to win every game, and like kind of like these Panthers do, right?
Man,
we're not sure. Like it's Tkachuk, obviously, it's Bobrovsky, sure, but why are they winning now? Why were they an 8th seed that barely snuck in?
If you get hot at the right time, man, you never know. That's why it's the saying, just get in. If you just get into the playoffs, if you just get in, you get a seat to the table. You never know what can happen.
And the thing too is like sometimes you'll be an 8th seed and you're facing like the Vegas Golden Knights here, where I think if Vegas had a real tough first round matchup, like if Winnipeg was really at the top of their game, Winnipeg certainly could have beaten Vegas.
Oh yeah,
sure. And I think they showed it in the first game. If they came to play and everyone was healthy, they could have handled Vegas in 5 or 6 games, moved on. And had actually a good path to the cup, but it's all about just getting in, right? So even if you just get in, you might be able to really do some damage, right?
Yeah.
So, but you had a Conn Smythe.
Yeah. Just we want to get things wrapped up soon, so we'll just quickly talk about our top 3 Conn Smythe picks, because obviously Florida moved on to the Stanley Cup Finals tonight, and it's looking like, obviously, it's not over yet, but it's looking like the matchup will be Florida and Vegas.
Yeah.
So I think we'll just go over my top 3.
I'm looking back at mine, and I don't know what I was thinking.
My Conn Smythe frontrunners. So number 1, obviously, Sergei Bobrovsky.
Yeah.
Not too much to talk about there. He's just been dynamite. Him and Matthew Tkachuk have just carried them to the promised land, almost the promised land, to Stanley Cup Finals.
Almost there.
Number 2, Jack Eichel. He's, like we just talked about, he's been so good for Vegas. And we've talked about before, Vegas, they don't they don't really have like too many superstars, but they just have good depth. But I think in this playoffs, Jack Eichel has shown that he can be that superstar for that team.
Yep.
And so he's been a big part of their run. And number 3, Matthew Tkachuk. He's been so good. He carried them to the playoffs.
Yeah.
The regular season, 2 consecutive 100-point seasons. I don't know. He's so good, and he literally is a unicorn. He's so versatile.
He plays every end of the ice. He does everything.
Skill, emotion. Like, he has everything. Yeah. And like, as a coach, like Paul Maurice, that's like what you want in a player. Mm-hmm. And so, what about you?
Mine. I'm going Bobrovsky, of course. He's clearly been lights out for multiple rounds, and I hope that he continues to do so. And even as a Leafs fan, I honestly do kind of hope that the Panthers win this year. I'm on the bandwagon now. It's not personal that they beat us. It's over.
Hey, they don't have many fans, so
that's the thing. I'm one of an elite club here. So. Yeah, no, and then I got Matthew Tkachuk at number 2 because I just think he's been fantastic. He's scored so many clutch goals. Like every time it's a clutch overtime goal, it's Matthew Tkachuk, and it's his smug smirk on his face. He plays the game kind of like an asshole, but it's perfect for getting the job done. Yeah. And then my third one, we're leaving up to be undecided. That. No, it's undecided. It's going to be a goalie.
Okay, you want to see what's on your
honestly,
list?
I don't even. I said Aiden Hill because hold on a second. Because if Vegas, if he steals another game, okay, I have to have the hot takes. Who else is gonna have a hot take?
Okay. Yeah,
okay. Fine. So if he steals the next game and then plays lights out in the finals, I don't see why they wouldn't give it to him. And I think it'd be like cool because he's like a fringe backup kind of goalie and whatever. But no, I'm not settling there. I'm not settling there. Let's say Dallas comes back, then I go with Jake Ottinger.
Really?
So it's either and then yeah, like that's what I gotta say. It's a cross.
I literally bet on Rope Hens to win the Conn Smythe. The pair was like $200.
But he's not gonna.
I know. Well, no, because I think it was it was actually looking really good until they went down 3-0 versus Vegas. But if there was to be a Conn Smythe on Dallas, Rope Hens would win over Jake Ottinger 100%. Rope Hens has been.
I guess that's where we disagree.
Yeah. That's where we might have to end it.
Maybe we just leave it up in the air. Yeah. What do you think? Yeah. But anyway, this has been the new FNF show.
This is the new Fish and Fergie show.
Same guys, but
different
a new
location.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I think we'll be able to do some cool stuff with this. So thanks for being a part of the ride, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time.